Hi guys, welcome. Welcome aboard if you are brand new. Welcome back if you're not, and welcome home if that sits properly for you. Today I would like to do a pick a card reading for you. This is timeless whenever it finds you. Just consider how this sits for your next 7 to 10 days, let's call it, if that feels right. As always, if these messages resonate for you, that is beautiful. If they do not, feel free to leave them here to move on to a different pile, to move on to a different video, any of those things. Regardless, you are so blessed and appreciated, and I absolutely invite you to like or share this video or this channel, whatever works for you. And let's get right in. Today you have a beautiful agate moon, a beautiful cube, and a beautiful star, right? You can choose based on the shapes or the stones, or whatever pile speaks to you. You are most welcome to choose. You can listen to all three. You can listen to one. It doesn't matter. However that works. Yeah, so just whatever resonates, take that, and know that all is always perfect, right? It's all for you, always for you. So until I get to you in your pile, take care and be blessed. See you soon. Alrighty, those of you who chose the moon pile number 1, let's get into it. Let's see what your messages are, shall we? Always exciting. All right. So your hashtag Oracle card is here and now, right? And what that means is it's about presence. It's about where you show up, where you can affect your shift and change, where your power is. And that's always in the here and now, right? We tend to create stories about our past and create stories about our future, but we fail sometimes to remember that the here and now is the only thing that is truly ours. It's the only thing that's accurately represented. It's the only way that we can accurately be present and authentically showing up in any situation. So, okay, that feels like a message in and of itself. Let's see where it goes. Okay, so we have Chiron, which is about healing. Chiron is the wounded healer. And the message with any kind of Chiron activity is always about what story you're telling, right? So the wounded healer as Chiron, he had a chronic wound, right? He was wounded with a poisoned arrow and was in, constant pain. And so the story goes that he, in trying to find ways to heal himself, he learned how to heal others, and then he applied that knowledge and became a well-renowned healer, and then he taught people how to heal others, and so he became a well-renowned teacher. And what that actually netted him in the end was it was transcendence, right? But the key is that the way that we choose to walk our own path, the way that we choose to heal ourselves and dive into our own woundedness, and then we are able to expand into helping others, really defines part of our journey. And that requires, right, being present in that here and now. Okay, we have the 25th moon mansion with Rebel, and this is ruled by Uranus and Mercury, right? That's an Aquarian energy, big time. And so Aquarians are about shifting your perspective, right? They're about being aware of the aha moments that come in and allow for something new, right? If Chiron would have stayed in his story, he would have never branched out. He would have never looked for something new, right? This also reminds me of the Hanged Man card, which just offers you a shift in perspective. And here's the deal. If you're going to be in presence, you have to be willing to do both of those things on a regular basis. Ooh. Okay, so we have the octopus, right? This is about multitasking. This is about knowing when to fly under the radar, right? Octopuses have those beautiful chromatophore component, which allows them to be fully camouflaged and to sink in with their background, right? Yeah, and so they have those beautiful 8 arms, and they're so capable and so smart, right, with those big giant brains. What a beautiful thing. And so the way that that octopus moves through the world is easily and effortlessly and always in pursuit of a different perspective, right? Octopuses can fit through tiny little places and take up space that seems almost impossible, which is quite lovely. All right. And we have our little message here. Beautiful. Courage and trust. Right? Step into the void of uncertainty. Trust in life, existence, and that your soul will guide you to where you want to go and whatever you want to create. Life is made of big and little moments. One day you'll look back and smile, knowing how precious every moment was. Right? So let's think about that in relation here. We have the here and now, which is asking us to be present and shift your perspective, right? Come into the here and now. And that octopus always has the capacity to be in the here and now, right? Whether you see them or not, they're always there. Just think about that one. And then let's see what our tarot cards are here. Okay, we have the 9 of Swords, right? That's about anxiety, repetitive thoughts, old stories. Ooh, 3 of Swords. So this is about ideas, right? Swords are always about ideas, about pain or betrayal or loss. Interesting. That's quite a story. We've got the Devil, which is about attachment. And again, old stories, right? We have the Sun. Lovely, lovely shift there. We have the Queen of Cups. And the Queen of Wands, right? So let's just take a second, gather our information, see what this story is about courage and trust. Okay, so if we're talking about where we are on our healing journey, right? How we might feel like we're juggling or multitasking, how we might feel like this story is all about loss, it's all about betrayal, it's all about being stuck, right? Yeah, so this is about innovation in the here and now, right? Queens, 2 queens here, this is lovely. So queens in Eileen land, which of course is where we are right now, queens are all about fearless embodiment, right, of the elemental energy, of experiencing that elemental energy and expressing it. And so with Queen of Cups and Queen of Wands, we have that emotional energy and then passion, right? And so as these are passed to the Sun, like further in this reading, right, this asks us, it seems, that if we come into the here and now and really offer ourselves a new perspective in the story that we're telling, it will not only allow us, right? Think about how malleable octopus are. Octopi. Think about how malleable an octopus is. Because again, they can fit through little tiny places and into little jars, and they can find all those ways through, right? That perseverance is a real thing. And even if you're experiencing this anxiety and this fear and these things that wake you up and keep you up at night, and feel like loss or betrayal, loss, like sadness, right? And this is all about it. It's always about expectation. It's about what we're expecting, because Swords are that air energy. They're that emotionally kind of void. It's where we're talking about our expectations and our thoughts and our ideas as opposed to our embodiment, right? So this is kind of being devoid of the actual experience, right? Because really, what is anxiety but a negative expectation in the face of lack of positive experience? And so if your experience is always negative, right, that devil card, this is about our attachment, how we recreate our patterns, our beliefs, our habits, our routines over and over again without thought, right, without thinking that there's a different way, without shifting our perspective, right, that aha moment that comes in with that Aquarian energy and allows you to be fully present. Right, allows you to shift and change the way that you're experiencing and expressing whatever it is that's going on for you, that allows you perhaps then to find that healing moment, that revelation, that aha awareness that helps you shift from this feeling of persecution, that feeling of anxiety, that feeling of sadness, right? How you're holding on to those ideas that keep you there, that keep you tied to that old unhealed story, or that keep you recreating that unhealed pattern, right? Finally, this light comes in, this flash of brilliant light, right? Mercury and Uranus are both this energy that illuminates. And so with this sun energy, we step into the void of uncertainty, right? We trust in life, existence, and that your soul will guide you to where you want to go and whatever you want to create, right? And so once this illumination comes, then what do? Then you move into this heart space. You move into this soul space. You move into that place where you are able to be in the here and now, right? You have that capacity. And you know, the thing is, what we're always doing is going back and retelling these stories in an effort to recreate and widen and deepen our capability so that we can have a wider capacity, right? We learn, we grow, we heal, we evolve. We do shadow work, we do therapy, we have stillness, we go to retreats. Whatever it is that we do, we walk in nature, we earth, we ground, we chant, we sing, we dance, so that we can work through the traumas, right? So that we can work through the pattern recreation and really step into that illuminated presence, right? Our presence as the illuminated experience. And that's when we can actually really understand that our life is made up of those big and little moments, because it's how our heart experiences it. And if we can shed, right, all of the trauma, if we can shed all of the remnants, the lingering hurt, if we can go back in and do that work in order to heal what happened to us, so that we recognize that's not our story, right? That's not our story. That's not the story that I'm showing up for in my here and now, right? That's somebody's outdated old story. That happened, yes. Let me do this work so that I can be in this brilliant experience, in this brilliant embodiment of my heart and my soul, and live my life in that courage and trust. So moon pile number 1, I would say that your message, your overarching mission for the next 10-ish days, whenever you listen to this, is that you may want to really dig into your belief system. And if you don't know how to do that, find facilitation. Allow someone to help you, right? We can only multitask as broadly as we have learned how. Anything beyond that, we have to forgive ourselves for and ask for help. So allow someone to be your illumination in the here and now, right? Ask for help. People who have already done it, or people whose profession or job it is, mission it is, to hold that space, and let them help you learn to broaden your capacity. so that you can live in this embodied presence of courage and trust, right? As opposed to being in this scared, anxious state where all we are is a study of our losses, a study of our betrayals, and that's how we keep recreating our lives. Shift your perspective. Someone can help you do that, and if you don't know how, right, choose to grab some help. I think that's your message, Moon pile number 1. If this resonated for you, beautiful, and if it didn't, keep listening. Maybe a different pile will have a message for you. And if not, come back next time and see. Either way, please be blessed. Thank you for sharing this space with me. And take care. See you next time. Okie doke. Welcome. Pile number 2. Pile of this amazingly beautiful cube. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? So beautiful. Anyway, let's get into your cards, shall we, and see what kind of messaging you have for the next 10-ish days, right? Remembering that this is always timeless and it finds you when it finds you. All right, come clean or don't come at all. This is actually really designed to remind you that life is a constant expression of doing the work, right? We're always in the process of clearing our channel. We're always in the process of healing ourselves. We're always in the process of becoming aware of our stories, of our patterns, so that we can really refine and hone who and what we are in this lifetime. So come clean or don't come at all simply means be in your process, welcome it. And sometimes even revel in it, right? Okay, so 3rd house. This is about communication. This is also about ideas. It's about intellect. It's about thoughts, beliefs, and the way that we communicate them, right? How we gather information, how we disseminate information. And it's also about your neighborhood, right? 3rd house rules your brothers and sisters, your immediate neighborhood as you were growing up, right? Like, so that corner store, that place you met your friends who lived on your block, those types of things are how we learn to communicate, right? How we learn to gather information. Those are our pivotal intake and output kind of forms. That's how we learn to communicate with other people. So, again, this is about how do you need to, fascinating. How do you need to maybe up-level your game? How do you need to come into awareness of where your roots are? We have the sleeper, the 28th moon mansion, right? And this is so beautiful. So this is the final moon mansion, right? 28 degrees, 28 days of that moon mansion. So this is the moon and Pluto. And so this is that final phase before we move into the next, right? And so this is about karma. This is about how we are at our most psychically aware, how our intuition is the widest it can be, right? And so here's the thing. If we know that, right, if we have that widest illumination, in those final degrees of Pisces, as we move into that 0 degree of Aries, where we actually become moving again, right? So this is an invitation, it looks like so far, to be aware of your silence and what your silence tells you. Because guess what? Silence is communication too, right? Okay, so we have the Architect. Again, this is a card of deep intuition, right? The eyes of the Architect are closed, the 3rd eye being open. And so this is how we gather information in order to build something, right? The Architect is the visionary, and how we create from our visions is really what we're doing every single moment. We're calling that in, we're conjuring those from places so that we can get to the to places. What we see with our 3rd eye and the way that we see things with our 3rd eye absolutely is the only limitation of what we can create, right? What we can create, not only as ourselves in this 3D, but also for the collective container, right? For the soul journey that we're all part of. So, this is kind of yummy, guys. Okay, so here is your little message card. And this says, soul light. A relationship may seem less than perfect, yet from the perspective of your soul, this relationship is here to help you grow. Greater understanding and compassion help, but at the same time, stand up for yourself and your rights. Listen to and be guided by the light in your soul, right? And so consider that we can only share those truths that we have quietly intuited, right? Listening to your soul allows you to witness things from a higher perspective, a different perspective, from a wider perspective. And so sometimes definitely you have to talk about what it is that you're experiencing, how that witnessing makes you feel, what it inspires within you. But you have to know that first, right? You have to close your eyes and quiet yourself in order to really accurately receive the information before you can share it. Let's see what our tarot says. 5 of Swords, right? So that's about conflict. It's about argument and disagreement. 7 of Wands is about being defensive. Interesting here. This is an interesting story. Page of Swords, okay. The Emperor, the 7 of Swords, right? And the 8 of Pentacles. Okay. So, when we have conflict, right? Yeah, conflict and defending yourself. And then this 7 of Swords, this is energy that could be self-deceptive, right? I'm in conflict with myself. Perhaps I'm defending something that's no longer defensible, right? And so let me quiet myself and figure out where I'm creating my own conflict, right? Where I'm really putting into action my own limitations. The Page of Swords comes in to say, wait, do you have a different way that you can shift and change this belief? Or how are you examining this belief? How are you rigidly attached to this belief? How have you made your set of belief systems into rules, right? How have you created a structure around something that might not be worthy of it? Where have you pulled in things that aren't yours? Right? The 8 of Pentacles is an energy of devotion and dedication, right? And this is Pentacles energy, right? Which is a little bit different than the air energy here or the fire energy here. This 8 of Pentacles asks you to be devoted to the thing that you're doing, the truth that you're trying to embody or discover, the methodology that you're going to utilize to ground and create new foundations. Greater understanding and compassion help, right? Listen to and be guided by the light in your soul. So we can't communicate that which we don't understand, right? What do they say in the Matrix? You already know the answer. You're here to understand the question, or you can't see past a question that you don't understand, right? So have you quieted yourself and asked yourself about these patterns, about these structures that you've created or that have been handed to you, right? Because sometimes when we're talking about betrayal, sometimes when we're talking about witnessing a truth that is no longer true for you, simply the key is to really witness it as something else, right? We assume that this is part of us, right? And we have to defend it. We have to stand up for it. Or because we've put a lot of time and energy into it, that we have to keep carrying it. When the fact is, this new information, pages are always new information coming into our field. So whether this is a book you read, or a video that you hear, or a random conversation, some idea, a billboard you drive by, right? It could be anything that comes into your field and says, wait a minute. This is a new piece of information, and I have to process it quietly. I have to process it within my own sphere, right? Within my own sphere. I'm created. What am I creating with that state of creation? And am I aware of my dynamic potential, right? And the sleeper reminds us that you're not ready until you're ready, right? The Eight of Pentacles is about mastery over time. It's skill, it's practice. So it's being willing to be a beginner every single attempt. And no matter what seems less than perfect, what we do as a result, how we engage with a thing, is what creates our longevity. It's what creates our trajectory. And so how we come clean is to keep up, right, with that skill set, achievement, practice, with that fearless and tireless devotion, right? We're not going to stop and call ourselves a master, right? The sleeper, the architect, these are not cards of mastery. They're not calling themselves a master. In fact, a master is someone who's closed down their process and said, well, I know that, right? I know that, right? Five of Swords tends to stick to a belief or an idea over the relationship that's being damaged. The Seven of Wands says, this is what I know to be true, and I'm going to hold on and defend it simply because my passion says this is correct. I may not have actually reviewed it in such a way as to really test the truth of it when it comes to myself, right? When it comes to my heart, when it comes to my soul, when it comes to the way that I'm creating from that. And so this Seven of Swords, this is about, I really always almost witness the Seven of Swords as self-deceit and self-betrayal. And so if something comes into your field that gives you a reason to shift and change out of that, well, dig into that, right? Come clean. Devote yourself to your process and be guided by that light in your soul. It's never enough to say, well, that's the way it's always been done. Right? It's a requirement of living that we say, does that fit this situation? Does that fit the life I want to live? Does that fit the way I'm choosing? Right? Does that fit what resonates in my soul? You get to decide. You get to decide. It's not decided for you. So pile number 2, I would suggest that your mission this week is to find those things that are coming into your field that might feel a little out of resonance, that might give you a little bit of cognitive dissonance, and really spend some time asking yourself why, what's the purpose, and quiet yourself enough and long enough that your vision is the leading edge, right? Don't expect to figure it out and put it into motion immediately. Allow it to be done at its own time, because it comes in when it wants to come in, when you're ready, right? And then you get to devote yourself to it. So I think that's your mission. Truth, right? Truth seeking. So good luck. Thank you for listening. As always, be blessed. If this resonated for you, then pick up whatever you want to pick up. You can leave behind whatever you need to leave behind. If it didn't fit, that's totally fine. Keep listening or listen to a different video. And I will see you next time. Until then, be blessed. Alrighty. Pile number 3, or star pile people. I like the way that sounds. Let's get into your pile, right? Shall we? Lovely. Yeah. So first of all, I'd like to say thank you for showing up, and let's get into it. So clear your karma, right? This is a beautiful card. Clear your karma is all about how we're devoted to our constant up-leveling. And I always like to witness the fact that we're not talking about hierarchy, right, when we talk about level up or anything like that, because that makes it seem like there's a better or a worse, and there's not, right? Those are just labels, value judgments. When we talk about clearing your karma, we talk about witnessing everything as a lesson, as a balance, right? And the key is, so many people like to talk about, oh, karma's got big teeth, I can't wait to see how that one ends. But the key is this: we don't know what part of karma we're looking at. So leading with compassion is always a great idea, not just with others, but also with ourselves, right? Ooh, interesting. So we have the first house, which is worded as arrival, right? And the first house is all about self. It's about how you formulate your sense of identity, right? What you're believing about yourself, your world, your reality. And the key here is, first house is really fiery energy. This is inception. This is the way that we take action, right? This is where we move as a catalyst from our action potential into motion. And so here's the deal. Do you consider karma to be a passive process, or do you consider karma as something that you can actively clear, right? Well, I mean, we'll see where we go from here. Okay, so we have the 9th moon mansion picture. This happens to be my personal moon mansion. I have a 15-degree Cancer natal moon. It's ruled by Pluto and Neptune both, and so this is a really this is a moon mansion that is about being in service, right? Pictures are about usefulness, right? How do we contain the water within? How do we share it? How do we put it into motion for the service of others? Do we keep it for ourselves? Do we, actively seek out new ways to gather water, to distribute water? What do we do with it, right? So that Cancer moon contained in this moon mansion is all about usefulness and moving through a thing, right? We cup water and then we release it. So is that water contained, or is it just in process? All things ideally are simply in process. Ooh, look at that. Okay, so we have the spring. The spring is about magic and the water magic. Honestly, how lovely is that? So the spring is about how we look into the sacredness of the element of water and what that means to us, right? We have the backdrop of the night sky, the darkness permeated with stars, the lightness, and they flow through the universe, the cosmos, just like we flow through the cosmos. And the water, right? We are however many percent water, just like the water and the magic of water flows through us, just like the spectrum of light and darkness flows through us, right? And we're talking about not judging things as good or bad, right? As simply witnessing them as they are in their current state. Ooh, I like where we're going here. Let's see what our little message is. All right, sacred space. Yeah, that's lovely. A profound transformation is transpiring in your soul. There's a whole new world brewing. Remember, we are co-creators of our collective reality. It's time to start a revolution of calm stillness and gentle humanity. To unite, celebrate differences, and welcome diversity in ideas, beliefs, and thought. Right? Ooh, that's so yummy with all these cards here. So that profound transformation, right? And think about how we're always transforming our state in flow. All right. Let's see what else we have here in terms of your tarot cards. So we have the Knight of Wands and the Page of Wands, right? So this is motion and the idea of motion, things coming toward us always. So that's very fiery, right? I like this in terms of that first house, the arrival, right, as fire. So we have the Star. Look at that right under the spring. Those are mirrors of one another, right? The exact same energies mirrored in both of those, right? As the star takes information from the cosmos and creates a way to transport it to and for us, right? Both messages of hope and optimism and looking up, right? Look, oh, wow. I like it, guys. We've got the Eight of Cups. Okay. Seven of Pentacles. And the King of Swords. Okay, so we've got some very fiery energy going on up here. The Eight of Cups, this is a message about moving away from anything that isn't making your heart happy, right? No matter what it takes, it is your job and your mission to move toward those things that create bliss and contentment for you, right? That give you the opportunity to move towards those things that speak to your soul, that put your soul into motion, that create ways for you to move as your passion. And, you know, the Seven of Pentacles says you may have to wait. The King of Swords says, I mean, there's such beauty in the swords, you know, which are all about ideas, right? And in Eileen Land, we know that kings are that one step past embodiment, where we are aware of our capacity to exercise our ideas, to change and shift our beliefs into the place where we need to, right? How we can communicate everything or just what is required. And so that King of Swords says, whatever's required for my transformation. And perhaps I'm going to understand that even if I'm so moved, I have to wait for the right time, right? I have to wait until I discover what it is, right? If we really look at the way that Eight of Cups is moving, right? He's moving away from this reservation when it comes to communication, this reservation when it comes to being patient, right? So this says, perhaps you've waited long enough, right? Perhaps this transformation that is transpiring, that whole new world, look at all those butterflies, right? That is brewing in your soul is about to give birth to that next level, that new, right? Hope springs eternal. That's really all of this energy here, is how are we going to create that next phase? And if we're clearing our karma, right, the King of Swords always wields that sword of truth that allows us to cut away the things that are no longer relevant. And if you're patient enough, and if you watch for the signs, right, you'll know when that first house moment of arrival, right, the impetus to act, the spark to be in motion, after long periods of waiting and deliberating, right, we have to step away from that place of stillness, that place of suspension, and become part of our motion, part of our new cycle, part of what we're birthing, what we're creating, right? We've been gathering the water, this sense of emotional stability, this sense of contentment and satisfaction, right? And anything that's not part of that, that's going to have to stay back here. We're going to have to cut that away and transform it into something else with which we've been, or for which we've been patiently creating that space, right? Seven of Pentacles is seeds planted. We wait, right? We wait for the conditions to be right. We wait for that spark to come in that allows things to grow, to move, to become more, and knowing that we have plenty of space to nurture that, to water it, to create it as that next level of karma, right? Beautiful, absolutely beautiful energy and messaging. So I would say pile number 3, these star people, whatever your new world is about to become, this is a thing where you've been working on it for quite a while, and your messaging might be telling you, okay, it's time, right? This fire energy that goes along with the spring, goes along with witnessing our own new birth, right? Our own arrival. This shifting of karma from being held to being in service. And sometimes we have a lot of work to do before we can be in service in that sacred space holding kind of way. We have to, my mom would always say, prepare the surface. And what that means is if you have work to do, you have to make sure that you have cleared space to do it. And so perhaps you've been going through a phase of preparing the surface, and now the message is time to put that into motion, knowing that your capacity is there, right? Knowing that it is definitely time to be in motion, right? Moving that karma forward. Ooh, pile number 3, I love this for you. I wish you nothing but the best. Be blessed. Any part of this that feels like it resonates with you, please feel free to pick that up. Any part that does not, feel free to leave that behind. And if this did not work for you, if none of these messages spoke to you today, I wish you nothing but the best. Come back, check in, and hopefully the next message will be yours. Regardless, please be blessed, take care, and we will see you next time.